This episode of the Cult Popture podcast was brought to you by our Patreon. If you want to tell us which films we should watch, get up to 2 extra exclusive podcasts a month, give us something to talk about in the post-credit scene at the end of each episode, or join us for our monthly movie club Zoom call where we discuss a film together, then please consider joining the cult and donating at www.patreon.com/cultpopture.
Okay, welcome along everybody to part 2 of the dumbest looking films we hope are coming out in 2021. This is AJ up in the intro. I do not have a pop filter on. I'm raw dogging the microphone, and I'm just here to let you know that there won't be time codes in the description because this is an episode where we won't be spoiling anything. However, there have in fact been some more delays since recording this about a week and a half ago. So we talk about a few films which have been delayed. Most hilariously would probably be the No Time to Die got delayed again because of product placement that needed to be updated because the product placement currently in it is so outdated. But other movies we talk about in this episode that also, or the previous episode I think, I'm not sure, which have been delayed include Last Night in Soho, Ghostbusters Afterlife, Uncharted, Morbius, and a few others. I think Nobody also got delayed, the Bob Odenkirk film. So there's a few others that have been delayed. It doesn't really matter, does it? Does it matter? We're just here to, it's been delayed. Stuff has been delayed, so ignore the order in which we talk about the stuff or the release dates we give because they're probably outdated. But without further ado, here is the episode.
Well, do we have higher hopes for Cruella, starring Emma Stone?
Man, I feel
Cruella.
like this movie's been on the cards for ever.
5 years.
Yeah,
5 years old.
Fucking hell. This should have come out 2 years ago.
This should have come out just after Angelina Jolie's Maleficent movie.
Yeah.
Which
one?
That's
been
when,
two.
Yeah, that's when. Well, the first one. That's when this idea was relevant.
January 6, 2016, Emma Stone was cast as Cruella de Vil, so it actually has been 5 years.
How long is too long before we get before live action Disney reboots obviously I feel like everyone just has bad things to say about these movies, and when is that going to reach the point where they go, okay, we're going to stop making them, and then also when that production line, because there'll already be ones in production, will stop? Or is the fact that they make too much money too big of a thing? But then how much money is a 101 Dalmatians origin story going to make? Surely this isn't going to
$1 billion.
Yeah, prove me wrong. Yeah, exactly.
I think this is definitely a different kettle of fish to the live action animation kind of remakes. That's why I sort of drew the comparison to Maleficent, because it's definitely not like Beauty and the Beast and Lion King. I think there is an argument to be made for character stories about characters that are interesting and may deserve more exploration.
Hey, but you know what character is so compelling because they're fucking evil?
Cruella de Vil.
She wants to skin puppies. I'm not gonna sympathize with that woman. That's what's so good about her, is that she's like deliciously evil.
But I don't think that they're going to do a Maleficent treatment on Cruella.
Oh, so you still think she's going to be the villain in the film?
I think she's going to be an anti-hero at least.
Yeah, or you will see her tortured past.
But that's what I'm saying. I don't think Cruella works seeing her tortured past. I think she's better being an unsympathetic kind of character because
I think almost every villain is better being an unsympathetic character.
Yeah. Especially, it's okay, not necessarily, but yes to the ones that are designed originally 60 to 30 years ago as being unsympathetic. You know?
And also, isn't Emma Stone over?
Oh, come on.
I don't know. What has she been doing recently?
The Favourite!
Oh, just because she turned 30.
Oh, I'm like a proto Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah, that's exactly what you are, Jeremy.
You're
a proto Leonardo DiCaprio.
I'll give him 5 more years than Leo would.
Wow.
So that's very genuine of you, Jeremy. So June, we've got The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It.
Oh,
which
can
is
we
a
just
pretty
skip
dumb-
this? Last year we got to this movie and we were all like, well, I haven't seen The Conjuring, so I don't have much to say about it. My position
Why did we
hasn't
sound
changed.
like that in 2020? Peter Rabbit 2, The Runaway. Okay, here's one we can focus on.
Oh, can we please just drop in what we said about this last year as well?
Has this not come out yet?
I was genuinely shocked to find out
Oh
it
my
had an A.
god, I thought this came out like 2018. Has this not come out? I remember seeing the poster for this like when I first moved back to Christchurch, it felt like, which was in 2018. So
2018 was Peter Rabbit 1. So
that's
It's the sequel,
I-
AJ.
no, but
That's
even-
so funny.
okay, but
That's so funny, AJ.
no, but the sequel's the one with Sam Neill in it, right? Because that's also felt like it's been on the cards forever. Or is it not the one with Sam Neill in it? It's going to be the one.
No, I think you're thinking of Event Horizon.
Sorry, I'm thinking of Event Horizon.
No, I think you're thinking of Jurassic Park.
3.
Do you know what's funny? He's also in the first one.
No, this is the one where Peter Rabbit is
James Corden.
No, but he's fed up with being treated like he's a nuisance, so he robs a store. I've seen the trailer and I saw it a long time ago. Is my point.
All right. Well, you need to grow up.
I agree.
So 19th of June, we've got In the Heights. This is the Lin-Manuel Miranda written musical. It's a film adaptation of that, with Anthony Ramos in the lead role, who was in Hamilton, which we saw last year. I'm sure it'll be fun.
Yeah, I'm a lot more excited for this now after Hamilton. You know, I didn't know what to think before Hamilton. And I watched the episode of Song Exploder that you recommended, Richard, and it showed a little bit of In the Heights, and I was like, oh, yeah.
And so this is directed by John M. Chu, who did Gem and the Holograms.
Cool!
No, he also did Crazy Rich Asians. He also did Step Up to the Streets.
I think it'll be really interesting having both In the Heights and West Side Story coming out in the same year.
Oh, yeah.
Because both of them, I mean, essentially In the Heights is kind of like the redux and, you know, sort of re-up of the story of kind of immigrants living in New York. Like, it's a generational shift, which is really exciting. And I think actually
how familiar are you with the musical, Jeremy?
What's
like,
that?
have you seen it?
No, I haven't seen it. I've listened to a lot of the songs. I like it more than I used to like Hamilton, which is not very much. So I like them. It's still definitely got the whole Lin-Manuel Miranda style of kind of like spitting verse, but it's definitely got more kind of lush instrumentation and less. Anyway, but all that to say, I don't know In the Heights very well, but I am expecting to be wowed like I was wowed with Hamilton.
From what I've seen of the clips from Song Exploder, it certainly looks like it lends itself more to being a movie than Hamilton, which is...
Yes.
Because, like, Hamilton, the stage aspect is kind of baked right into the way the story is presented.
Well, the thing is that, like, on top of being a musical, you have to be a period piece as well.
Right.
With Hamilton.
Right.
The way that they tell the story through song and Hamilton is a lot more conceptual, so there's a lot of, like, shifting of time and place through and characters speaking to one another and when they're not necessarily in the same place at the same time, whereas In the Heights is much more about like kind of grounded group of people in a certain space at a certain time singing, you know, songs about what's going on. So I think, as you're saying, it lends itself better to being a sort of straightforward movie.
Yeah.
So also that day we've got Luca, which is the new film from Pixar.
I didn't know that was coming out this year. Cool.
So that's set in a beautiful seaside town on the Italian Riviera. It's a coming of age story about a young boy and his newfound best friend who is secretly a sea monster. The cast actually hasn't been announced for this, interestingly, but the main character is called Luca Portorosso. Which is a reference to Porco Rosso, which AJ made a director project video on.
I did.
And Enrico Casarosa, the director, he made the Pixar short La Luna, He's described the film as an homage to Fellini and other classic Italian filmmakers, with a dash of Miyazaki in the mix as well.
So this is a really interesting experience because until right now I didn't know about the sea monster thing, and it kind of sounds like Call Me by Your Name before you say the sea monster.
Yeah.
I'd seen the poster for it, and it looked like it was going to be one of those Pixar movies where it's like you can't describe it in the same way you can say it's the toy one, it's the monster one.
Yeah, what if blank had feelings?
Yeah, it looked like it was just going to be just a kind of themeless, or at least a story which is not defined by its central quirk, you know.
Yeah.
But it sounds like it absolutely is, because it's about a sea monster. A piece of information I did not realize, did not know.
So I just sent you guys a picture of the two main characters, one of whom is a sea monster. It just looks like two boys, and it's like literally that background could be from Call Me by Your Name.
I mean, one of them looks like Timothée Chalamet as well.
Yeah,
and the other one's eating a person. Oh my god, it's Armie Hammer. Pretty funny name for a guy who's outed as a cannibal, eh? Army? That's a bit on the nose. That's the most on the nose name for a cannibal since Hannibal. I should start doing stand up again and put that in. That was a good joke. I'm going to write that down.
Jeremy's looking confusedly as if he doesn't know the Army Hannibal cannibal story.
Army Hannibal.
No, I was getting to the chat so I could see the photo that you sent through.
Oh, so you are aware of the Army Hammer as a cannibal thing?
No.
Oh,
Army Hammer is 100% a cannibal.
His words.
I mean, the thing is that Call Me by Your Name is also one of those sort of Pixar ones. It's the Peach movie, right?
What if Peaches had feelings? We'll be coming back to Army Hammer in this podcast. But
Really?
25th of June, Venom, Let There Be Carnage. I'm excited.
Are you?
While looking on Rotten Tomatoes for like our most anticipated films of 2021, there's like, you know, when they're just seemingly randomly generated ads on the side that like when you click on them it takes you to like a really weird website. There was one that just had a real like gaunt picture of Woody Harrelson, and the headline was "The tale of Woody Harrelson just gets sadder and sadder." I just thought that was really funny, but I bring that up because Woody Harrelson is playing Carnage in this movie. Based on set photos, the wig isn't as weird. Directed by Andy Serkis as well, this film, which is interesting.
Should have been directed by Chris Cooper.
What? You mean Shalto Copley? That's you mixed it. You fucked up the callback. You fucked up the callback.
Shit. I thought I owned.
I think if this was the first Venom movie, I would be relatively excited for this. I think Andy Serkis is a voice that I'd like to hear in this particular intellectual property.
I can't believe I did that. What a dumbass. It was my own joke, and
What happened, Jeremy, was in your mind, you remembered you'd made a joke about Andy Serkis and you'd made a joke about Chris Cooper, but you didn't remember that it was Shalto Copley, because without that, your joke is nonsense. It's utter nonsense.
I did what Hollywood's done. I forgot who Shalto Copley is.
So this is a case of like the first one wasn't very good, and it's like, well, what reason do I have to be like?
Well, part of me thinks, part of me is cautiously optimistic that it is like this could be righting the wrongs of the first one.
But that's always a bad start to a series, you know, when it rights the wrongs of the first one.
I mean, I'm excited to see Carnage and
yeah.
To be honest, I think this is going to go right in and then back out of cinemas like a turd in the wind.
Oh, a Venom
Very good,
reference.
Jeremy. So 2nd of July, we've got Top Gun Maverick.
Nothing to say about this.
This is exactly what, for me, this is exactly what AJ said about Kingsman.
Yeah.
Like when you first
like you
hear
can't wait
that,
to see what overtly sexual thing Matthew Vaughn puts into Top Gun
when
Maverick.
when you first hear that, like, you know, Tom Cruise is revisiting the character of the whole Top Gun thing, you're like, oh, that's so cool. And then like a year and a half goes by while they film it, and then they're going to release it, and then they don't release it, and then another year goes by, and then it's just like, oh yeah, that movie still hasn't come out. Okay.
This is like, I reckon, provided that COVID goes away within the next year, which is, I don't want to sound like I think that's going to happen.
Well, it depends on what you mean by COVID going away, like being able to return to cinemas and COVID going away are two very different things.
If that happens, I reckon in 10 years, this era of film is going to be a fascinating thing to look at because of exactly what we're saying, where it's movies that expired on the shelf, and not for any obvious reasons, not for any surface level reasons. It's not like they're about something that wouldn't apply, but it is not abusing, but like misusing, stretching what hype is, you know?
Yes,
like,
exactly. The marketing period.
Yeah.
We're actually, it's really interesting actually noticing the kind of like movie marketing kind of tactics of releasing the fact that they're making a movie. The star maybe does an interview and mentions that they're going to be filming a movie soon. Like, we're used to these beats and this kind of rhythm of like over a couple of years, and it leads us into it. And then all of a sudden we're totally out of whack, and we're noticing how odd it feels.
And like No Time to Die will have had 3 marketing campaigns by the time it comes out, and that's if it doesn't get delayed and promoted again. And like, that's a movie where there have been 3 trailers for it already. What are they going to do for the next?
And the theme song got released.
Yeah, like
a year ago.
The hype and the movie are so disconnected now. It is so fascinating.
Oh, do you think they might actually re-record and do another theme song? I'd be stoked.
I hope so.
Yeah. Like last year, the thing we were most excited for about No Time to Die was working out who would do the theme song. And now we've heard it a year ago, and we're like, whatever. So also that day, we got Minions: The Rise of Gru.
Again,
and then
this didn't come out already.
Yeah. So 9th of July, we got Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, which is a Marvel film. This one is like, obviously it'll be good. I'm sure I'll enjoy it. I'm definitely going to see it. But I just don't know enough about it to really form an opinion on it, to have any kind of hot take.
So the Ten Rings is like famously the Mandarins syndicate, which was referenced in the original Iron Man film. And then the Mandarin, of course, was revealed to be a fraud in Iron Man 3, but then revealed that there is a real Mandarin in a one-shot short film called All Hail the King. And I think this has been debunked, but there was a rumor for a while that a female was cast as the Mandarin, and I thought that was such a funny idea, because the Mandarin being Trevor Slattery in Iron Man 3 was like divided like a lot of people in terms of those who thought it was a good twist and those who thought it was a bad twist. And it's so funny to me to Marvel be like, no, don't worry, we're gonna do a real Mandarin and then make the Mandarin a lady. I think that would piss off the same people and be very very fun. Got you again. But I think it's been confirmed since then that the Mandarin,
Tony Leung.
Yeah, that's disappointing. I thought that would have been so funny.
That is so AJ to get excited about something that didn't end up actually happening. Like, I just really loved how it was going to be. Oh no, it's not. It would have really pissed off. Oh no, it's not going to.
Yeah.
So this is being directed by Destin Daniel Cretton, who made Short Term 12 and Just Mercy.
Oh yes, yeah.
Simu Liu. This is going to be his breakout role, presumably. But everything I've seen him, like, he just seems like a very charismatic dude, and he's very cool on Twitter. But also stars Awkwafina. So that'll be fun.
Do you like Awkwafina, Richard?
I don't really have an opinion on it, to be honest.
Oh, okay.
You got me. And this was filmed in Australia. So that's all I have to say about that. The Forever Purge, one we talked about last year, this is interesting because this came, I remember this being like, we're making the Forever Purge, and it's the last one, and it's got a really cool premise, and that's all they would say. And now we kind of know the plot. So the last Purge film was called The Purge Election Year, and it was about a presidential election, and kind of one of the main campaigns was abolishing the Purge. So following the presidential elections from the last year and the abolition of the Purge, a Mexican couple escaping from a drug cartel is stranded on a Texas ranch. There, they will be at the mercy of a group of outsiders who decide to unlawfully continue their own purge.
So, like QAnon people.
Well, it's just like, I don't know, that doesn't seem like a very exciting premise to me. It's just like, people just are doing it themselves, I guess.
I've said this the last time we discussed Purge movies. I've missed it's like it doesn't exist for me. I've never seen one.
Yeah, me too.
I never even heard of them until there were like 3 movies out. For someone who like cut his teeth on analyzing franchises, this one completely slipped past me the entire time.
Did they even release the original Purge movie in New Zealand? Because I feel like they didn't.
I actually don't think they did. I think you might be right.
Maybe that's why.
But we didn't get the first John Wick either. But I've seen the first Purge and the first Purge.
I've heard
Two
you
that I've seen.
make that joke on at least 2 other versions of this
No,
podcast.
you haven't.
No, you haven't. No one's ever made that joke.
And I just absolutely love the like little smile that you get on your face as you're making it. Like, oh, I'm so clever.
It's their fault for calling it the first Purge.
Look at me. It's part of my life.
All right, well, do you guys want to bring up the next one?
What is it?
Do you know there's a parody of The Purge called Meet the Blacks?
Oh, yeah.
So that's something fun. Anyway, here's a fun one to talk about. 16th of July, this is another Warner Brothers HBO Max deal. Space Jam, A New Legacy.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, man, I can't fucking wait. I can't fucking wait.
It is very funny to watch the HBO Max trailer. They released a trailer the other day that was every movie that's coming simultaneous release to HBO Max this year, and it has the first footage of Space Jam: A New Legacy in it, which is LeBron James and Bugs Bunny staring up at horror and something, and then seconds later you hear Daniel Kaluuya from the Judas and the Black Messiah going, "I am a revolutionary," and it's so funny to see something so serious happen right after seeing Bugs Bunny and LeBron James standing next to each other. I thought that was very funny. Now, what is interesting about Space Jam: A New Legacy, and for years they've been speculating about Space Jam 2. Since it came out, there have been, rumblings and things every couple of years. And the question was always like, which basketballer will it be? Or will it be Space Jam or something else Jam? And what seems to be the biggest twist of the century is that it looks like they are not replacing the basketball aspect nor the space aspect, but the Looney Tunes aspect is like part of it, but it's actually going to be about crossing through like a bunch of different Warner Bros. Properties. Maybe they'll even go and see Judas and the Black Messiah. We don't know at this point. but it's gonna have like The Mask is reportedly gonna be in it. Pennywise is reportedly gonna be in it. And
what?
that is the like, I don't want to call this movie genius, but that is the oh yeah thing for me, is that it's not really. And I'm sure Looney Tunes will be like the bedrock of the concept.
Yeah, that'll be like a fun little third act thing.
Yeah.
It's also not confirmed anywhere. This is based on leaked stills from a cast rap party.
A plot synopsis was released that said that they explore the worlds of other Warner Brothers properties.
I just I think it is mainly going to be Looney Tunes, but genuinely, could you imagine the movie executive going, hey, Space Jam was really popular with the kids, and you know why? They really love watching basketball players in a movie. They don't really care about Bugs Bunny and all the Looney Tunes. Like those aren't the characters that really get kids going.
Sure, but have Looney Tunes or has Space Jam stuck with like kids today? Like, I don't think that's any more.
No, but in terms of what appeals to kids, like cartoons interacting with their favorite basketball players, the cartoon factor is the thing that's like the novelty, right? It's not.
You're right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing that makes it an appropriate kids movie, not Pennywise the Clown.
Yeah. Look, anyway, I mean, I've said this before. I love Looney Tunes. Looney Tunes are the best, but I don't think Space Jam's a very good movie, and I have no reason to think this will be a very good movie either.
No.
But maybe
also,
it will be.
I'm fucking cannot wait.
Is there any word on whether or not Kobe Bryant was in this movie? Because that, like, if they had released this movie last year, like a few months after his death, that would have been one thing. But to release a movie that features Kobe Bryant like more than a year after his death, just again, we're really reaching the window of.
Yeah, it doesn't say anywhere that Kobe Bryant's in this.
Right.
I can tell you that LeBron James has been attached to this since like 2011. Like it's been a long time coming.
Oh, right, okay. It's just interesting thinking about doing like a sort of zeitgeisty movie about kind of the best basketball players in the world, like who have that reputation, and kind of like Kobe not being around it.
And doing one every 25 years.
Yeah. Anyway.
So we've also got another Cinderella movie coming out that same day.
Starring?
Do you guys know about this?
Starring whom?
James Corden.
Oh, Lord.
Wait, what is it?
Yeah. Cinderella.
Richard, I can barely hear you, dude. Where is the microphone?
It stars Cinderella. Well, it stars James Corden.
As Cinderella?
As
the ugly stepsister.
No, James Corden is... Oh, no, I remember this. James Corden and John Mulaney. James Corden, John Mulaney, and Ramesh Rangan... God, I've never had to say his last name out loud.
Ramesh Ranganathan.
Yeah, as the mice.
What, is this a Disney thing?
No, it's just a musical. It's Camila Cabello's playing Cinderella. Billy Porter's in it as a genderless fairy godparent.
What's this movie called?
Adele Dazeem.
Adele Dazeem!
As Cinderella's stepmother. It's called Cinderella.
Right.
Pierce Brosnan as King Rowan.
Wow. I mean, which studio has done this?
Sony.
Columbia.
Wait, when you said Adele Dazeem, did you mean Adina Menzel?
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Oh, Adina Menzel is... Oh, she's the evil stepmother. That's awesome. Wow, this is
wickedly
stacked.
talented. Missy Elliott's in it.
As the
Minnie Driver.
As the town crier. That's hilarious.
Why does James Corden finagle his way into all these big cast movies?
It's because it's a musical. And so James Corden is one person...
Oh, what? He's like the ugly kid you don't want to invite to the party. And by ugly, I mean ugly on the inside. I'm not being superficial. I invite ugly people to all my parties.
James Corden has announced he's like pairing with Weight Watchers.
Oh,
is
Lord.
this part of
the
Cinderella thing?
Oh, guys, no.
No.
It's produced by James Corden, and the story is by James Corden.
Oh God.
Oh, so he made this because
this is him. This is
people
literally...
are going so sour on him they've stopped inviting him to things. Screw you guys! I'll make my own musical.
Yeah, I do love Billy Porter as Fab G, a genderless fairy godparent. That'll be fun. So, 30th of July, a film which at one point, I know, AJ, you were certainly excited for, but maybe the hype has run out, and that is Jungle Cruise.
Oh, no, I'm still fully on board the hype cruise for this.
I fucking do not care, eh?
I'm
I just
so into
think
it.
it could be fun. I just think it could be fun. I don't know.
Oh, who cares?
I do. The Rock's in it and Emily Blunt's in it. Those two things are the only thing I need to know.
Oh, this film's not going to be that good.
I'll give you $20. I'll give you $20.
I'll take it. I'm not making a bet, but you just said you'd give me $20, and I'm not going to turn that down.
Who would have thought that Jumanji Welcome to the Jungle and its sequel would be any good, though?
Me.
No, you didn't.
Whatever.
Yes, I fucking did. As soon as I saw that trailer, I said, you know what? I have no attachment to the first one, but it looks fucking dope.
Whatever.
No, Richard, the $20 I'm giving you is in the form of a ticket to go see the movie with me.
Oh.
Oh, I'll still take it.
Yeah, joke's on you, Richard. I just meant I was going to shout you to the movies.
So 30th of July as well, we've got a film called The Green Knight, which is one that...
Oh, yeah.
It's one of those ones that people keep on being like, oh my gosh, just give us The Green Knight. I don't really know that much about it. It's like I'm holding two microphones and I keep banging them together. So if you're hearing a bang, that's what that is. The Green Knight. So it's like a medieval fantasy, but also hints of a horror. Stars Dev Patel.
I feel like I saw the trailer for this 18 months ago.
Yeah, me too.
And it looked, which I know why. I'm not mystified by that.
Yeah, there was a big pandemic.
Yeah, sorry, you're right. But like this is all just to say I've like forgotten almost everything about it. So I don't.
Yeah.
It looks very like kind of like medieval gritty in that kind of way that Guy Ritchie's Arthur movie was, and it just like in a very sort of fake gritty kind of way.
Exciting.
Yeah. But Dev Patel is always insanely watchable, so I'll totally watch it.
Yeah.
What when you say people have been saying give us a Green Knight movie, what property is it from?
Oh no, I mean like this is one of the ones that people are like, oh my gosh, I just want the Green Knight. Like I don't care about any other movies delayed because of COVID. I just want the Green Knight, and I'm like, okay, I don't know why.
Yeah. So is this?
I mean, I'm sure it'll be good, but it's based on an Arthurian legend, so Gawain and the Green Knight.
Oh right, okay, yeah.
So we're also are on August 6th, Warner Brothers HBO Max deal, The Suicide Squad, directed by James Gunn. And so we recently saw a kind of like a sizzle reel for this, which showed off all the characters. Looks fun. A lot of the character designs are very fun.
A lot of people touting this as their most anticipated of the year, and I can understand that. I think that I'm very interested in a movie with a cast as big as this, because it sounds like the joke is that several of them are expendable.
That they're all going to die.
And you only really have to protect. Like, there are only a few of them that have plot armor, and I think James Gunn even came out and said, like, all deaths are final and no one is safe, which I guess you would say that, but I can't see them killing off Harley Quinn in this movie.
So is this just a complete reboot?
I mean, it shares some of the same cast, but yes.
Wow.
Yeah, it's it's like a retooling, I guess.
Yeah,
it's like a second try, essentially.
It's the same thing as Venom: Let Them Be Carnage, basically, and it's set on like a tropical island, and it's supposed to be inspired by like a 1970s war action film or something like that.
It's so interesting to watch DC like just try, fuck it up, and then try again, fuck that up, and then give it just another go. It's like watching like a really inspirational movie about, you know, some kid who's just not talented at all, but has like all the gumption and will in the world, and so just like doesn't take no for an answer and just keeps going.
But that's also kind of creatively freeing, right? Like, it's a blank slate. It's like, yeah, fuck it, do it again. Like, for years, the only things that have stopped good movies from being made is they already tried to do it once and it was bad, you know? And now we're at a point where, like, DC especially, after, like, the famous Batman and Robin Batman Begins gap, is like, they're just going like, well, whatever, like, let's just try again. And it's like, maybe more movies should do that.
I feel like the failures do compound, though. Like right now, DC's brand value in my mind is so basement level. Like, there's just...
But it's better than it was a few years ago.
Really?
Oh, yeah. When all their movies were Man of Steel, the Batman v Superman, and Justice League, like, Wonder Woman was like the lone good spot. Now we've had Shazam, a movie you loved.
Shazam.
Love Shazam. We had Joker. Like, there's a lot more good faith for them now.
I love that you mentioned Joker as like, you know, we all loved Joker.
Well, I didn't, but I know you two did, so I was being considerate. Like,
we got him.
We made him a better person. There's absolutely more stock in them nowadays, I think, and I think this will be good. I think this will probably be good. I think James Gunn is a filmmaker who it gels very well with studios, unless they find out about things he tweeted 8 years ago. But like there are directors who was talking about this. Was it you, Richard? Who was talking to me about this? Maybe it was on the podcast, that there are directors who can't work with studios, and then there are directors who can, and it's got nothing to do with whether or not they are like
Good directors or not?
Well, no,
like because you think of it as being like, well, they have too much of a vision.
yeah,
so
but
they
it's
can't
not
work
that
with
at
a
all.
studio.
Yeah,
It's finding the middle ground. Like, I mean, yeah, something like Guardians of the Galaxy is very much like and I mean, fucking Thor Ragnarok, and the fact that Thor Ragnarok went well, and now they're like, cool, do whatever you want, Taika.
yeah. Which, like someone like Edgar Wright, potentially, we don't really know the true story, isn't one of those directors, and so he was had Ant-Man taken off him. And the same can be said for several other Star Wars directors.
Yeah, fucking all of them. But yeah, this is an incredible cast. And the other interesting thing about this, so John Cena also stars in this, as Peacemaker, who's kind of he described him as a douchey Captain America. He's a ruthless killer who believes in achieving peace at any cost. But there's a TV show based on Peacemaker in development, which James Gunn was in lockdown, and instead of taking a break, wrote a TV series. And so now they're up in Vancouver shooting that.
That's crazy.
I mean, good on him. Like, fucking sweet. That'd be like, if you've got it, do it.
Flaunt it. If you've got it, flaunt it. And in this case, incredible writing talent and an incredible drive to keep writing.
Why, and also a lot of money.
Sorry? Just kidding.
So same day as Suicide Squad, we've got Hotel Transylvania 4. Did you guys know that there was a fourth?
No one wants this. Yeah. Not even the kids who enjoyed Hotel Transylvania 1 to 3.
It just seems like such a trilogy movie, a series.
Yeah. Yeah, it's insane that you'd make a fourth one.
Where's your microphone, Richard?
4 is such a weird number for a film franchise.
You are minuscule right now. I can't hear you at all.
Oh.
Sorry.
Here we go.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's annoying because I really love and want to support Genndy Tartakovsky, who made the series, and I feel like he's quite a he's a very internet popular. Like a lot of dudes on the internet are real into Samurai Jack and Primal, but then his most prolific work is Hotel Transylvania, and all his stands are kind of like, oh yeah, there's Hotel Transylvania, and it's like, oh, please make something else instead.
It looks like he's not making the fourth one.
Oh, well, good. He's better than it.
Well, he is making something else instead.
What is he making?
Probably Primal Season 2, which apparently is excellent. I've not seen it.
He's probably making royalties from the characters that he created.
Very cool. So 13th of August, we've got Deep Water. Now, this is the erotic thriller starring Ben Affleck and Ana de Armas, who broke up this week.
Yeah, this time last year when we discussed this, we were like, ooh, an erotic thriller starting those two, and then a week later it turned out they were dating, and now we're still talking about it because of course it got delayed, and they've just broken up, and there were paparazzi photos of someone taking a life-size cardboard cutout of Ana de Armas out of Ben Affleck's house.
That's
something
so
like...
funny.
So much story can be inferred here. It's fascinating.
That is.
Yeah.
I just love that out of the two of them in that couple, she's the one who had a life-size cardboard cut out of her, even though he's the one who's actually done movies where he's been an action movie.
Yeah, true.
He was Daredevil. So, same day as that, we've got Don't Breathe 2. Remember Don't Breathe?
Oh, yeah.
You
Absolutely
can now.
not.
Wow, I didn't know they were doing a sequel.
So we've also got BIOS, which is a film I learned of its existence last year when I was making this list. Stars Tom Hanks as the last man on Earth, and he builds a robot to look after his dog after he's gone. And I believe that robot is played by Caleb Landry Jones.
And Jeremy, I somewhat remember you saying this movie was going to be like boomer propaganda, basically. It's going to play off the fears of your legacy going nowhere, something like that. Anyway, sounds interesting. Maybe it will be.
That's some intense.
It
intense
was very wise.
It's some intense analysis from me when I literally do not remember anything about this movie. No. I don't even remember talking about it at all.
I thought it was a very wise kind of statement as well. So.
Oh, thank you.
Wow. Can you still take credit for it if you don't remember it?
Who knows? That's. Well, this is very relevant to our conversation about whether or not you can still refer to a director as great if their later work was terrible.
If they're Zemeckis.
Yeah.
Is that what Zemeckis means, or does it mean movies like Zemeckis? Well, we may never know.
We got that move like Zemeckis. We got that movies like Zemeckis.
You're bringing a real energy here, Richard. In the third hour.
I'd say I'm dancing. I've got these moves like Zemeckis.
I was drunk when we started this podcast, and boy, is that gone, that energy.
I didn't know you were drunk.
I was wasted.
What?
Yeah.
This is entirely news to me.
Why? I didn't want you guys to narc on me.
I didn't want you guys to be worried. But now that I'm sober, I can tell you I'm an alcoholic and I need your help.
So the hitman's wife's bodyguard.
Oh my gosh.
Leave me alone, Ryan Reynolds. Leave me alone.
Paw Patrol the movie.
A-cab.
All canines are bastards.
Oh.
Candyman, a film which Jeremy knows entirely too much about.
Still looks good, mate. Hey, see, my hype hasn't died down for that because it was always set at a very moderate level.
Nia DaCosta, the director,
Yeah.
is doing Captain Marvel 2.
Mm-hmm.
So there's something. There's something, one that I might actually be kind of interested in is 27th of August, we're getting The Beatles Get Back. The title, which is the title I suggested for yesterday before we knew the title of it. But this is Peter Jackson's documentary, which is there's like hours and hours of footage of the recording, the Beatles recording "Let It Be," and that's never been released before, and he's making it into a movie.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm sure it'll be good.
There was like a teaser on Disney Plus.
Yeah. And I don't think the movie's being released on Disney Plus. I mean, maybe it is,
What?
but
That's so weird.
yeah, it's like a 5-minute. He said like this isn't a trailer, this isn't a clip from the film. This just kind of shows you the vibe of the film,
which is what a trailer is.
Yeah, but it's not like it like lets scenes play out, and it's kind of like it's not very focused. But it's like I'm sure it'll be fascinating footage, and especially if you're into the Beatles, this is a rare insight into what it was like in the recording studio. But it's crazy that there's like 70 hours of footage or something that have just been sitting on a shelf for decades, and it's like when you think the Beatles are like every single thing would have been dug up by now.
Yeah, and there's already 1,000 documentaries about them, surely. So
I'm kind of. I hesitate to say this because of what's happened in Peter Jackson's career, but I kind of want him to stop making documentaries with found footage and get back to actually making movies. But then
I was about to say I want him to only do this and stop making movies.
I never saw They Shall Not Grow Old, but apparently it was excellent.
Yeah, it's absolutely incredible. Yeah.
Oh, nice. Weird that you think that, and yet you're like, but he should get back to his inferior.
I don't know. There's only so many times you can go back to the well for something like that, right? Like I don't know.
Well, no, or he's pivoting. Like maybe he's discovered he does this better.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, if it keeps him away from Tolkien's legacy, all power to it.
I think he's very keen to stay away.
I retract my previous statements.
September 3rd, Jackass 4. What I'm sure will be a very, very sad film.
This is literally what Borat 2 should have been. Like, this, like Jackass, the feel of Jackass 4 coming at us is how we would have all felt if we had been told earlier on in the year that the Borat 2 was coming out.
Yeah. So this is
the Borat 2.
The Borat.
It was. It made the news recently because Johnny Knoxville and Steve-O were hospitalized due to onset injuries.
Because they're like 50 now.
Bam Margera did like a video. I think he was filming a Cameo, the website where you can get fucking celebrities to shout you out. And he's like in hospital, waiting for them. And like, cause like Bam Margera is just makes me sad now. I mean, like he's gone through a lot of shit, especially with the death of Ryan Dunn. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this is not just really sad.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, really.
I heard Steve-O talk a couple years back about his like stand-up show where he just gets a professional wrestler to choke him till he passes out, and that's the bit. And I was like, man, this dude has got this is all he knows, you know? This is all Steve-O knows, is to hurt himself for entertainment, and I'm worried about Steve-O.
I'm worried about Mr. Stephen O. But like the thing is that this brand of humor is just so deeply like mid 2000s, and we've all moved on from that kind of humor. Like you get like it's like if Ashton Kutcher said that him and Dax Shepard were coming back for another season of Punk'd. Like it's like
instead he's saving women from a lifetime of sex slavery.
Yeah, that's right.
See, that's modern comedy. Ashton Kutcher knew to keep up with the times. Why can't Johnny Knoxville?
It's reverse punked. He's unpunked.
Right.
Yeah, so I morbidly curious is my anticipation of that movie.
I hope we see them poop on another dollhouse. That's the one sketch I remember from Jackass #2 was them pooping on a dollhouse.
Do you guys know there's a Resident Evil movie coming out?
I do. It has Kaya Scodelario in it.
Oh yeah.
As Jill Valentine. Yeah, so this will be...
She's playing Claire Redfield.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, that's the other one. There's 2 female protagonists of Resident Evil. This will be the first great video game movie. It's funny though, isn't it, that it's like things that are outdated or don't work. Video game movies, zombie movies, Resident Evil movies. So it's like all rolled into one. Let's try and make this happen, gang. Let's just pull up our bootstraps and really try and make this one happen.
But without Mila Jovovich.
Yeah, it's like a straight reboot as well. Like it's.
Oh yeah, I couldn't remember if Resident Evil already existed or not.
Oh, there are 7
There's
Resident
so
Evil
many.
movies.
Like I've managed to get through my life without even coming close to seeing one of them. So I'm gonna.
Yeah, this is the 7th.
Second one, John, a really cool moment I remember in the second one from when I was 12, where the villain, it's right at the end of the movie, the villain who's in the helicopter leaving with the heroes, they kick him out. They're like, no, you have to stay behind with the zombies. And they kick him out of the helicopter. He falls to the ground, and he's desperately crawling away. And they leave him a gun to shoot himself with, and he starts shooting at the zombies. And he realizes he's not going to do it, and so he puts the trigger to his head and pulls it, and it goes tick. And then he looks down, and the zombie of the father that was a good guy who he killed earlier in the film is the one to deliver the bite to the villain. That's how the villain dies in Resident Evil Apocalypse. And it was good stuff. It was really good stuff. God, it was good. And the thing is that you don't get action like that anymore. Resident Evil Apocalypse 2004 was the height of cinema, the height of action,
and
the height.
And in conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming to my talk.
Thank you for coming to my Z talk. The Z, I think you know what it stands for.
All right. After that, we've got a film which puts Annette Bening, Russell Brand, Dawn French, Kenneth
in
Branagh,
a cage,
Gal Gadot, Jennifer Saunders, and Letitia Wright.
Wait, isn't this just that
trapped on a boat with a 100% cannibal Armie Hammer? It's Death on the Nile.
Oh my God, Armie Hammer's in there. This will be his last film, surely. Like imagine being his PR right now. They must be like, look, we were ready for like a sex scandal, but he's a cannibal. Man, that's crazy. That is insane. I don't know. I think that I wish I liked Murder on the Orient Express enough to be excited for this, but
I never saw it, but I've heard it's passable.
Yeah, I just wish it was better, and I'll see this maybe when it goes straight to streaming the same day that it releases in theaters.
I'm pretty interested to see what happens with the whole cannibal thing. He's denied it.
He's denied it. Okay. That's different from the quote, I am 100% a cannibal.
Which is allegedly attributed to
it's screen grabs. It's screen grabs of text messages. I had not heard about this, and then I'm just reading it now. I'm like,
What do you
it
think?
was like unverified screen grabs of extremely lurid text messages allegedly sent by actor Armie Hammer. Like,
Do you like how unambiguous the line "I am 100% a cannibal" is? That's my favorite thing about it. It leaves no wiggle room. He doesn't say "I'm sort of a cannibal" or "I have a cannibal fetish." He says "I am 100% a cannibal."
I want to eat.
It's
But
very
also,
funny.
the wiggle room is that he may have not have sent these.
Right.
The wiggle room is that it's completely like possible to just change some random number's name in your phone to Armie Hammer.
Which is
That's never been done.
which is such a funny thing to do. Armie Hammer?
Yes, this is the celebrity I'm picking. Armie Hammer.
How are we
You
going to
forgot
bring
who
him
he
down?
was for 10 years, didn't you? Social Network, nothing else for like a decade, but he's back.
He was in Call Me By Your Name.
Yeah, that was like a decade later. That was almost a decade later. I said like a decade.
7 years is like a decade.
Armie Hammer, take notes. This is how you establish wiggle room.
This is actually so amazing. The Rolling Stone article has the best line. That said, there is no reason to believe that Hammer has actually murdered and ingested an individual. If he had, one can only assume the promotional tour for the Lone Ranger would have been much less boring.
Calling out the
Very
promotional
shrewd,
tour,
Rolling
not just
Stone.
the film. So same day as that, we've got something a little bit more family friendly than a cannibal. The Boss Baby, family business. Now there's
It's
two
a-
babies.
This is a very interesting sequel because the Boss Baby, for those who haven't seen it, is a lot weirder than you may think it is on the outset. Because it's about a boy who has a baby, or his little brother,
Oh.
and he's a boss. Like, he's like a capitalist. He wears
He's
a
a
little
capitalist pig.
suit. Yeah, you've all seen it, or
Yeah.
at least know about it. Then they made a Netflix series called Boss Baby Back in Business. And in that, it's like the further adventures of these two kids who you see grown up by the end of the first film, right? So it's presumably set between the end of the first film and the like epilogue of the first film. Now, this film is about they're both all grown up. We see them as grown ups, and then the main character now has a kid who is a boss baby, a lady boss baby, a girl boss
Amy
baby.
Sedaris from BoJack Horseman.
Yeah, and she then transforms them both into babies. She transforms Tobey Maguire's character back into a kid.
Who's now played by James Marsden.
Okay. And they are now both babies in modern day and have to take down Jeff Goldblum, who's playing some baby-focused
Dr.
villain.
Irwin Armstrong.
And what a crazy way to sequel this.
Yeah,
It's
just
not
set it after the first one.
Yeah. They've made such a strange decision here for the sake of, like, withholding the continuity of a Netflix series that no one's ever seen. It's very interesting, man, and I will not see this movie. I will not. I will not.
Oh, we will. We're going to go at like 9 a.m.
That was what I suggested we do for the first movie. I wanted to have the least enjoyable experience as possible.
So, September 24th, The Many Saints of Newark. This is the Sopranos film.
I'm going to watch The Sopranos this year,
Right, well, keep us updated.
just in time for this.
There's also an untitled My Little Pony movie coming out.
Like in the canon of Friendship is Magic or a new thing?
Unclear.
I recognize that you said words that must have to do with My Little
Yeah.
Pony, but I genuinely have no idea what any of them meant.
Yeah, well, here's a film which I know you want to talk about, AJ, or you did at one point at least. Dune.
Dune?
Denis Villeneuve's Dune. Now, I saw the trailer for this when I went to go see Tenet, and you guys did not believe me. And I think you still probably don't, but I 100%, as sure as Armie Hammer is a cannibal, I saw this trailer at Tenet. And it was like, this is before it had been released online. It was the opening shot of Timothée Chalamet and Charlotte Rampling, and she says, "Put your hand in this box." And he says, "What's in there?" And she says something like, "It's pain." And then it just showed all the main characters, and it's a Dune trailer coming Tuesday.
Okay.
Oh yeah, it was the character release or the character
Yeah.
profile thing.
we can talk a bit more about Dune more than we did last year because we've seen a trailer now.
Yeah.
It has been delayed.
But you went fucking nuts for it last year.
Yeah, no, I'm still the hype hasn't died down. I think it's certainly more at risk because I feel like this movie, should it go straight to streaming, will not have the impact that it needs to have.
There is potential for this one to get a
yeah, exactly.
yeah, the full release.
Are you still a Junetic?
I'm still looking forward to Dune. Jeremy,
but are you a Junetic?
I refuse to comply to this this adolescent term. I saw one tweet that was like, if Dune goes straight to streaming, get ready for a lot of 2 to 3 star reviews from people who watched it while looking at their phone.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, this has to go to cinemas.
No, who watched it on their phones.
Yeah. I think that the trailer looked really cool. I'm no more or less hyped for it after seeing the trailer. And I also
the trailer
feel
didn't wow me, but I was like, whatever, I'm going to see it.
I'm also very cautious of being shown and finding out too much before I see it.
Yeah.
I've got a friend who loves Dune and is just champing at the bit to tell me what happens in it, so I already know probably more than I want to know about it, which is hard, right? Because it's this revered sci-fi touchstone that I'm trying to say I don't want to know anything about. And so I am looking forward to it. I still think it could be incredible, but I think the odds are stacked against it now with the pandemic.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still the same movie that it was.
No, it's not. They changed it.
Yeah, but I'm not saying that it'll be a worse movie. I'm saying that it's half of the book, first of all. Like, they've split the book into two.
And that second half is an uphill battle to be made.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's just the first book. They're supposed to be making the whole series.
Wow.
And there's a TV show as well.
Yeah.
So we've also got The Addams Family 2. I'm sure you're just as excited for.
Absolutely.
I think the thing is the odds are stacked against The Addams Family 2.
There won't be an Addams Family 3. There's no way.
Yeah, well, not with the
When was there an
pandemic.
Addams Family 1?
Last year.
What?
2 years ago.
Yeah.
2019. Finn Wolfhard was in it.
Wow. Okay.
Apparently it was real bad. We probably talked about it on the most disappointing of
Probably
2019.
did.
Yeah, and it had Oscar Isaac as Gomez Adams and Charlize Theron as Morticia, which is like perfect casting for a live action film.
But it wasn't live action. It was animated and apparently not very good.
Oh, that's no. Okay, yeah. I'm now getting somewhat flashbacks about this.
Ugh!
So, 8th of October, we just found this out today, or a couple of days ago when you listen to this. No Time to Die. We got plenty of time to die because this bloody keeps getting bloody.
I feel like we already talked about this on this episode.
We
did.
Let's skip this.
Well, we didn't actually say what we think of the film.
One thing I didn't say at the time, I really feel sorry for Daniel Craig.
Yeah. He's like, all right, fine, I'll do one more James Bond movie. And then he has to do a 2-year campaign.
Honestly.
Yeah.
And the thing is, it's not just the movie. It's like literally the way they're talking about it. It's like literally the whole British film industry is kind of relying on, like all of the movie theaters are kind of relying on Bond to be like that one big movie that brings everyone back to the cinema experience. And so it's like, like Daniel Craig could be like, screw the American movie studios. I can't be bothered being their puppet anymore. But like literally he's like the sort of avatar for the entire like movie industry in Britain now.
Very funny, man. That's so funny.
Same day as that, though, here's something fresh to talk about. Morbius, starring Jared Leto as Michael Morbius, the living vampire, but also starring Michael Keaton, the female Frances McDormand, the male Frances McDormand.
The male Chris Cooper.
So this is kind of the first. I mean, there might be some kind of thing going on in Venom: Let There Be Carnage, but the trailer for this had Spider-Man in it, but it was the PS4 render of Spider-Man from the game, and then it has Michael Keaton presumably playing Adrian Toomes, the Vulture. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see this kind of film, what it does with the kind of Venn diagram of the MCU. But obviously, it's got Jared Leto, who's always fantastic.
Finally,
to watch.
Jared Leto plays what he is, a living vampire.
It's good casting. I'll give it that.
Jesus
Christ!
What?
Fucking
Jared Leto just came in.
Gigantic moth. Holy
I mean, moths
fuck.
are just velvet friends that fly.
No, I don't know what. I think it might be a cockroach, but it's fucking huge.
Okay, I'm sorry. There's a massive difference between a cockroach and a moth. One flies.
No, well, it was flying around. It looked like a moth, but holy fuck, that's terrifying.
I think it's Jared Leto, dude.
Oh
the
my
living
God.
vampire.
Let's wrap this up. I cannot be in this room much longer. If this fucking comes near me, I'm calling it quits.
Wow, I did not know this about you, Richard.
15th of October, Halloween Kills. I'm very excited for this. We saw a trailer for it.
The way that you keep looking up
Yeah.
where it
You
is
seem
is
very
so
distracted.
great.
I'm incredibly
You're like,
distracted.
Halloween Kills. I'm very excited for this, and I just
Halloween Kills. Yeah, AJ, you excited?
Jess, there's a big bug. Come and kill it.
She's not at home. She's out.
I think that Halloween 2018. I've yet to be proven that Halloween 2018 needed one sequel, let alone two. So I'm not actually that hopeful for this film, but it could be good.
Yeah, it's interesting to do Halloween 2018 kind of had an interesting tone to it.
I actually think they sacrificed what could have been a cool ending to do, for the sake of greenlighting more sequels. I think Michael Myers should have died at the end of Halloween 2018.
Yeah. Like it seems interesting to do the kind of pulpy, we're doing more sequels, he can't be killed kind of thing nowadays, but then I'm also excited for a return to that form kind of thing.
Yeah.
So after that we got Last Night in Soho.
Yes, the Edgar Wright horror movie, which he released pictures of today, I think.
This is interesting because this is another one where it's like, because they're not really calling it like a horror now. I remember it being announced as like Edgar Wright's doing a horror movie. Woo. And I'm sorry, I cannot get over this thing. It's so big.
Do you have any fly spray?
Fuck.
Do you have any balls?
Oh God. Oh fuck. I'm so uncomfortable with this.
Oh my gosh, it's a bug, Richard. It's not going to do anything to you.
You have no idea how big this is.
Well, you haven't taken a photo of it, which is the reason we don't know.
Oh God. Okay, it's landed again. So Last Night in Soho. This was again delayed. Today it's gonna final film appearance from Diana Rigg and Margaret Nolan, who have both passed away. It's a young wannabe fashion designer who mysteriously enters the 1960s to encounter her idol.
Interesting. I've never heard any of the plot about it at all before.
Yeah, it's interesting, eh? Because I was kind of sold this as like, oh, Edgar Wright's doing a horror movie, but it looks to be a bit more like a psychological kind of creepy thriller.
A concept time travel movie?
Yeah, it's supposed to be inspired by British horror films like Nicholas Roeg's Don't Look Now and Roman Polanski's Repulsion.
I mean, this has been my most anticipated for several years now, you know?
Yeah. All right. Eternals. Once called The Eternals, now just called Eternals.
And what do we think about that?
Yeah, so, this is kind of like Chloe Zhao's. I'm excited that the fact that this has been moved, because this was like we were supposed to last year get Black Widow and Eternals, and then they've now put Shang-Chi in the middle of that, seemingly to put Eternals maybe in like Oscar season in November. So they could be hanging a lot of hopes on this. Chloe Zhao has come out and said that she wrote the script for it and that she was very much allowed to do her own thing. I'm excited for it. I'm excited to see. There's a lot of practical sets by the look of it, and a really like kind of artistic director. Take on a Marvel project like that. The fact that it spans millennia is kind of one of the things that's like I'm a little bit like iffy on. That it's potentially maybe like too big and too mysterious.
I'll be honest with you guys. I'm struggling to talk about movies I remember talking about on the last time we did this.
Do you remember talking about Baz Luhrmann's Elvis?
No, I don't. Let's talk about it.
Okay. Well, do you know much about it?
Is it Baz Luhrmann doing an Elvis movie?
Yeah.
Yes, Elvis Costello.
Very
yeah,
cool.
it's stars Tom Hanks. Not as Elvis.
As Elvis?
Not as Elvis. He's playing Colonel Tom Parker. Austin Butler is playing Elvis Presley.
Oh, well, that's a role made for Austin Butler.
He plays Tex in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Like literally, Elvis Presley's entire life was just to set up a character for Austin Butler to play later on in his life.
Absolutely. I don't know. What is Baz Luhrmann's ratio for you guys? Is he?
Oh, he's always exciting.
I've enjoyed one of his films, and it was Moulin Rouge, and I haven't seen Australia, but I didn't like The Great Gatsby or Romeo plus Juliet, and Strictly Ballroom's okay.
Yeah.
I liked Romeo and Juliet, and Moulin Rouge is incredible. Australia was 3 films, but he made them 1. And The Great Gatsby was awful. So yeah, he's just under 50% for me.
Yeah, absolutely.
But he's always interesting. He always swings. It's always a massive
Speaking
swing.
of interesting, do you know what's interesting? A big fucking dog. Because we got
There's
Clifford.
a big dog in your room now
Clifford,
as well?
the big red dog. No, I wish I could eat this fucking bug.
Oh my god! Yeah, well, the Clifford the Big Red Dog trailer dropped, and it is the Cats of 2021. Have you guys seen this trailer?
Yeah.
The wrong creative decision. The wrong creative decision to make here for the Clifford the Big Red Dog movie. They literally just took a dog, sized him up, and digitally painted him red, and it's fucking weird looking. It's going to be a weird film. It's going to be a bad film.
And also, he's a puppy, and Clifford was real small when he was a puppy.
Oh my gosh, I'm just looking at it now. This is horrendous.
It's messing with Clifford lore.
Yeah. It's fucked up. It's fucked up. It shouldn't have been made. He should look more like the live-action Garfield than an actual dog. Imagine if the live-action Garfield just looked like a photorealistic cat. That's what this is.
Ghostbusters Afterlife, we've got 11th of November. Remember this?
Jeremy's stuck on Clifford the Big Red Dog, I think.
No, sorry. I clicked on the wrong Clifford the Big Red Dog movie trailer. It's a satire trailer where they basically put like it made it into a horror movie, like sort of a combined, like they've taken all these shots from like Godzilla and King Kong, and people like looking up and being like, it's so good. Anyway, sorry.
Very funny.
Yeah, Ghostbusters Afterlife. How do you guys feel about it?
Again, like this is like I was barely excited for this the first time. We did recently see a new ghost named Muncher.
Yeah.
Who's a big blue version of Slimer. Looks pretty weird, but look, Ghostbusters is one of those properties that I actually feel has been underused. I feel like, at least in terms of like mainstream success, they haven't done a lot more than just the 3 movies. And yeah, sure, give me another Ghostbusters movie. Give me it. Give it to me.
I have no great affection for Ghostbusters as a concept or a franchise. The reason for me not seeing the 2016 reboot was that I just wasn't interested in Ghostbusters, and I'm still not interested in Ghostbusters. So,
but are you interested in Paul Rudd?
I mean, he's very cool and very sexy.
Finn Wolfhard. Say the same thing about him.
He's a sexy little boy. How old's Finn Wolfhard now?
He'd be 18 now. So yes, Richard, you can call him a sexy little boy.
He turned 18 like less than a month ago. Actually, it's his 18 year and 1 month birthday tomorrow.
He's officially a sexy little boy.
This is weird.
19th of November, we've got this is rapidly going downhill.
3 hours in, the podcast gets dangerous.
Yeah, or an hour and a half into your I'm in fucking danger with this goddamn thing in my fucking recording
You
room.
are not in danger, Richard. It can do nothing to you.
Oh my god, Jeremy.
Richard, you have to get out of the house. Richard, it has
so much.
It has a gun.
as a man who has been 6'5" since I was like 17, I live my life by like, if I'm bigger than something, I'm not scared of it.
Well, I live my life a quarter of a mile at a time.
It's the only way to live.
Okay, so we've got Mission Impossible 7 coming out this year.
Really?
Sign me up.
Yeah.
Really?
Sign me up.
Wow! That's amazing. I had no idea. I didn't know that was coming out this year.
That was an adorable reaction, AJ.
Oh, well, that's it.
Really? Wow.
That's my most anticipated of 2021.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I'm still probably looking more forward to Dune, but that was my most anticipated of 2020.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hope deferred. I will never bet against the cracker team of Tom Cruise and Chris McQuarrie.
Yeah, man.
Have you seen that some guys filmed him and he's just Tom Cruise, he's just sitting atop a moving train and they like drove up beside the train and they're like filming him and Tom Cruise is looking down at the camera with a big grin on his face and like waves at them. It's really funny. It's like everyone in the scene knows how funny this situation is. Like the people driving the car are like, is that Tom Cruise on a moving train? And Tom Cruise is like, you found Tom Cruise on a moving train. I totally understand why you find this funny. It's very good.
And then he starts screaming at them to not be so close to each other.
Yeah. Honestly, I love that clip, man, of Tom Cruise yelling at those guys. Good on him. He gets it.
He gets it.
I'm just watching the clip now. It's so cute. He's like, yes, it's me, Tom Cruise. Yes, I'm on a moving train.
Not only am I exactly who you think I am, I'm on a moving train. Something which was already funny before you knew I was Tom Cruise.
But yeah, I mean, I can't wait to see what they do with this. It's an incredible franchise, and it just gets better.
We must get a title announcement soon or something like that. That's exciting.
You'd hope so.
I wonder what they'll call it.
Encanto, November 24th. This is a new Disney movie with music by Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Is this the like what area of the world?
Colombian.
Colombian. Yeah, this was in the Disney investors meeting. They showed stuff about this. I don't know much about it, but you know, again, just like Raya and the Last Dragon, I will probably see it and probably be good.
It's the 60th Disney film.
Ah, cool.
Walt Disney Animation Studios, that is. Now, here's one that I wrote down and I forgot why it was of note. So let me just look that up. That's not what I was looking for.
Is it the Mitchells versus the Machines?
No, it wasn't. I have written that down there. So this is Gucci. It's directed by Ridley Scott, and it's stars Jared Leto, Al Pacino, Adam Driver, Jeremy Irons, Lady Gaga. Jared Leto and Adam Driver in a film together.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It's a lot of weird energy.
What's it about?
The story of how Patrizia Reggiani, the ex-wife of Maurizio Gucci, plotted to kill her husband, the grandson of renowned fashion designer Guccio Gucci.
This sounds like the plot of like American Crime Story Season 2.
Yeah, the assassination of Gianni Versace.
Is this the same thing? Or is this
No,
a very similar
twice, I guess.
story? What? Aren't they both fashion designers?
Yeah,
Yes.
well, so the Gucci and this is the grandson of the actual fashion designer.
So this the cutthroat world of fashion designing, huh? Yeah. How old is Ridley Scott these days? Is he still making good stuff, or is he Zemeckis?
Well, he made what is it? Exodus, Gods and Kings.
That wasn't very good.
Oh,
no,
was
it wasn't.
Not?
He made Prometheus,
That wasn't very. I haven't seen.
which
Prometheus.
was not good.
Okay.
He made The Martian.
Oh, that was good. Maybe there's hope yet.
He's also got The Last Duel coming out this year, which was also stars Adam Driver and Matt Damon and Ben Affleck. And this was written by Matt Damon and Ben Affleck.
Okay.
And that comes out like a month before his other film, which is interesting. His last film was All the Money in the World.
Did that get received positively in the end?
I think
Well,
so,
with
yeah.
Christopher Plummer, it did.
Christopher Plummer jokes evergreen.
Yeah, until they're replaced by something else. So West Side Story. Jeremy, do you want to do your little spiel about this again?
Yeah, come on, Jeremy.
Come on, Jeremy. Get the people that
Dance, monkey, dance.
I'm just really interested to see Steven Spielberg do a musical, because I have great faith that his talent will cross over, but it's musical movies are a really different beast, and especially when the original West Side Story is such a classic. And there's almost no reason to remake it. Like it's always dangerous remaking a musical. It's always dangerous making a musical film, and then it's always dangerous to remake a beloved classic. And they're remaking a beloved classical musical film. So it's like, but it's Steven Spielberg.
I wonder what drew him to this project so much. It's such a specific
boomer money.
Wow.
Because all the boomers are going to go see this because they went and saw it when they were teenagers and like early 20s.
Okay, if you say so.
I mean, it's a great musical. It's what's really interesting, and I think I said this last year, was that the choreography for West Side Story is one of the most set in stone pieces of musical history. So whenever anyone does West Side Story around the world, they have to use the original choreography, which is now really dated.
Well, how hard can it be to do the exact choreography? You just have to snap your fingers, right? That's 100% of what I know about West Side Story.
Exactly. But they've got permission from the people who own the rights to West Side Story, the show, to do new choreography, which could be awesome. And I think it's one of the most...
Do we know if this is like a modern retelling?
Until I see a trailer, I don't know.
Let me have a look.
I believe that they've changed the races of the different gangs.
Right.
Because it was kind of the Jets were like the Italians, I think, and then the Sharks were Puerto Ricans.
Right.
Which was kind of what was going on, and I think that they're changing the racial makeup of the two different gangs, and so
to both
that
white.
Would indicate to me,
yay!
that would indicate to me that they're probably doing a modern, like an update.
17th of December, a very interesting film, Spider-Man, the new Spider-Man, presumably called Something Home. So this is potentially very interesting. What were you going to say?
As said at Christmas?
No, is it?
Well, there are set photos released and it shows it snowing and like Christmas decorations.
Well, I mean, it comes out 17th of December, so that would make sense.
Spider-Man Home for Christmas?
I think that's or Home for the Holidays, I imagine, is probably the more likely phrase they'll adopt. I think that I think it's cool to I think giving your franchise a Christmas movie is a fun way to differentiate and inject some freshness. And I would love to see Spider-Man in that setting.
But also, obviously, the big talking point of this film is Jamie Foxx and Alfred Molina returning.
Who? Yeah. Actually, I guess, but yeah, them. Those are the big talking points.
Yeah, not these rumored Christmas set photos. Oh,
he's swallowed the bug. He's swallowed the bug.
No, I think I ate some of the pop sock of my mic by accident.
How did it taste?
Fantastic. It tastes like good content.
Pop, sock, and roll.
So if we're getting a live action kind of Spider-Verse movie, Doctor Strange is appearing. I don't know, just go fucking nuts with it. You've earned it.
So I thought you were doing a joke, but you haven't mentioned that Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield are also.
Oh, I started
slated.
to, and then I just spit that thing out, and then we got. But Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield rumored to be returning, but Alfred Molina and Jamie Foxx are confirmed.
Yeah, so I think it's definitely a cool way to do it, and I enjoy the ramifications of bringing different canons into another canon. But I will say that Spider-Man Far From Home ended in such a specific place with such a specific cliffhanger that it's like, is this going to be what it's about? Like,
it looks like it's not paying off.
Yeah. It's like, because you can do a whole movie with the cliffhanger that Far From Home leaves us with. Are they just not going to?
Can you remind me of the cliffhanger?
Oh, it ends with J.K. Simmons as J. Jonah Jameson revealing to the world that Spider-Man is Peter Parker.
Oh yeah.
And so it feels weird to not end this with a cliffhanger, I guess. I mean, to pay off the cliffhanger.
Yeah.
But I'll see it. I reckon it'll be good.
Also, Christmas season this year, we're getting Matrix. The fourth Matrix film, the Warner Brothers same day release trailer they released a few days ago, which flashes all the title cards at the end, ends on one that just says Matrix. Is that confirming that it's the title of the film, or is it just a placeholder? We don't know.
It's not The Matrix. It's just Matrix.
Yeah, but that's also an unconfirmed title.
Yeah. Have we talked about what this movie's rumored to be about?
No.
I've heard that it's rumored to be about, it's like, you're not going to believe me, and this might not be true. Apparently it's set in the real world where The Matrix is a movie in the real world.
Right.
Like in the world of the film. Like I've heard that, that's apparently like a potentially what the movie is about.
So it's like a documentary almost.
No, I imagine if it's about The Matrix, that it'll be like this movie, but also real, right? Like this movie about The Matrix is real and The Matrix actually exists.
Yeah.
This could all be not true, but that's the rumor I've heard. And I was like, I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, if you're gonna do a fourth Matrix movie, that's a pretty interesting, that's a pretty unique take, yeah.
Are you more excited for that or Sing 2?
I can't believe Sing 2 was greenlit or hasn't come out already. I can't decide which I'm more surprised by.
So that brings us to the end of the ones which are slated with release dates. I did miss a couple that I'm just now realizing. Those Who Wish Me Dead, new Taylor Sheridan movie starring Angelina Jolie. That'll be cool.
Yep.
But there are a few. Netflix also recently, they don't date their movies until not too long before they come out. But they released a trailer which teased that they're doing at least one film a week. Picked out just a couple of those.
Yeah, for the next 6 hours, we're going to go through them.
I've just picked out a couple that excite me. Pinocchio, which is coming out in March. That's Guillermo del Toro's stop motion one.
Did he direct it?
Oh my god. The moth has taken over his body.
He did direct. So it's the first Guillermo del Toro film since Shape of Water then.
Co-directed, to be fair. But
okay.
Army of the Dead, a film I'm weirdly very excited for. This is Zack Snyder's it's a zombie heist movie. It's set during a zombie apocalypse, and it's like a team of, I guess, mercenaries or people who dress up as mercenaries who go to Las Vegas to pull off the ultimate heist. It has a prequel film which has already been filmed and is, I presume, coming out this year. And it also is getting an anime sequel series, I think.
And also, they... In a pretty interesting move, one of the main stars was Me Too'd last year, and his character was replaced in the film by Tig Notaro. Which means that they filmed all of her scenes. She'll have never met the cast, I guess, if they've replaced all the shots with... What was his name? I can't remember his name.
Chris D'Elia.
Yeah, Chris D'Elia. He was outed as sending raunchy Snapchats to underage girls, and there was a clip that released of him...
Very funny clip.
It being interviewed on some kind of podcast where they talk about how you can save Snapchats, and he's like, but Snapchat deletes them, right? And they're like, yeah, but you can save them.
Yeah, but you can screenshot it.
Yeah, and just the look on his face is like a man realizing that he's his career
about to be found out.
Yeah. Anyway, I am also pretty excited for this, and I'll tell you why. It's because I can listen to the argument that Dawn of the Dead is Zack Snyder's best film. I think that this is an original story from Zack Snyder, which actually the only original story he did was Sucker Punch, which sucked. But I don't know. This feels like a healing thing for him, and it feels like do you know what it is? It's that there's a lot of good energy around it. Like
Yeah.
it's like it feels very positive. It feels like people are very positive around it.
I just realized we didn't fucking mention at all is the Snyder Cut.
Yeah, well,
I'm sure
we've
it'll be
already talked
bad.
about that.
That's my hot take. It'll be better, but I'm sure it's going to be bad. I'm not saying they're a 4-hour fucking Justice League. Who thinks that's an improvement?
Well, it's just like release the Snyder Cut and Justice for Han are both happening this year.
I cannot take this.
Like, if we're going to talk about fan service, my goodness.
Okay, but director cut culture is a good thing, I think.
Right. Well, it depends on
Because
the director.
I'm okay with whatever. If there are more, I think it's interesting. Yeah, release the David Ayer cut of Suicide Squad. Whatever, do it. Cool. I think it's interesting.
Another film that I'm looking forward to that's coming out on Netflix this year. This was kind of the big reveal at the end of the trailer. Is a film called Don't Look Up, which is Adam McKay's new film. It stars Leonardo DiCaprio and Jennifer Lawrence, who portray two low-level astronomers attempting via media tour to warn mankind about an asteroid that will destroy Earth. It also stars Cate Blanchett, Meryl Streep, Jonah Hill, Timothée Chalamet, Ariana Grande, Himesh Patel, Matthew Perry, Tyler Perry, Melanie Linsky, Ron Perlman, and Chris Evans.
Wow. Do you know what it reminds me of?
What?
It reminds me of Pandemic.
You mean Contagion?
No, Contagion. It reminds me of Contagion.
It feels a little bit like it might do the same thing that The Big Short did, where it just like cuts away to celebrities explaining things, which would explain how there's such a big cast.
Yeah.
And why someone like Matthew Perry's in the film, where it's like, here's Chandler from Friends to tell you about this. Because what was he hasn't been in a film since 17 Again. He legitimately hasn't been in a film since 17 Again.
Wow.
12 years ago. Yeah, this is like every year it's now seeming that I'll get a movie which I anticipate will be my favorite Leonardo DiCaprio film. Fingers crossed. Because Adam McKay, might be doing a bit more of a fun role here, which is always kind of what I've criticized him for not doing. The film called The Mitchells vs. the Machines, later retitled Connected, later retitled The Mitchells vs. the Machines. So this is the Lord and Miller animated film about how phone equals bad. Although they have actually, Lord and Miller have come out and said it's not just phone bad. And they used those words, which inspires me it fills me with hope.
Yeah. They did they direct this, or is this another one of their producing credits?
I believe it's a producing or writing credit.
Because this is sort of the successor to Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse in a lot of ways. It's the same animation style. Yeah. I'm not particularly enamored with the plot, but I think it looks incredible. We talked about this with the new SpongeBob movie. It's that very fun stop motion looking animation that I will go see it for that alone.
Well, you can watch it on Netflix.
I won't have to go anywhere. I will go to my couch and see it.
Yeah, because it was sold to Netflix earlier today. Blonde Ana de Armas playing Marilyn Monroe. I've
been looking forward to this for years.
She looks great. There's on-set photos of her, but it will be very interesting to see how well she does with the voice.
Yeah.
The Power of the Dog. This is Jane Campion's new film. It was filmed in Auckland here. It stars Thomasin McKenzie, Benedict Cumberbatch, Kirsten Dunst, Jesse Plemons, Paul Dano, who were in and around the place where I live and Jeremy lives very recently. And then just to finish off, we've got a few films. That's all we've got for Netflix. There's a bunch more. We go look them up. Oh, actually, there's also Tick Tick Boom, which is Lin-Manuel Miranda's directorial debut. And there's a film called Red Notice, which has Ryan Reynolds, Gal Gadot, and Dwayne The Rock Johnson in it. But I'm sure it'll be bad. I'm sure it'll be this year's Six Underground. So we've also got a few films that are currently undated, most of which I imagine won't come out this year. But we've got The French Dispatch, the new film from Wes Anderson. I'm sure this will come out at some point. Wicked, no chance this comes out. Black Adam, unlikely to come out. Next Goal Wins, Taika Waititi's new film. I imagine that'll probably come out October, November sometime. And Blazing Samurai, to finish the podcast, Blazing Samurai, which is an animated remake of Blazing Saddles starring cats, who are also samurai.
Oh my gosh.
I think it's a great idea, and we've said before we're going to do an episode on movies that should get animated remakes, and I think this is a great launching pad for that
All right,
episode.
well, we'll look for that when Blazing Samurai comes out.
Yeah.
God, 3 hours. How do you wrap up a 3-hour podcast?
How do you do it? And look, here's what I think we should do. Gentlemen, what is the dumbest looking film that you hope is coming out in 2021? For me, it's Clifford the Big Red Dog. What do you guys think?
I've got to say, it's Chaos Walking for me.
Yeah, just to finally put an end to that. I'm going to go The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent.
Really? You don't think it's going to be any good?
I think there's a good chance it'll be done, but I hope it comes out. Oh, no way. Or Space Jam, I guess.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you want to support Cult Popture, you can like us and follow us and subscribe to us at all the different social places. At Cult Popture on Twitter as well, at Cult Popture on Instagram. And stay tuned for our post-credit scene. And I apologize if this is a little this felt different from previous year-long overviews, where it feels like we're all a little more pessimistic and all a little more down in the dumps about it.
Yeah, fucking the world did that to us, and I'm sorry that I've been distracted for the last hour. But I need to wrap this podcast up and go get some fly spray.
Definitely take a photo of the insect for the Discord.
No.
And I can tell you that something very exciting is coming from us in the coming weeks.
Oh, yes.
And next week you'll see it's another Patreon sample pack. but hold on, because something fun is coming. Cool. Stay tuned for the post-credit scene.
And thank you very much. And thank you, Jeremy. I hope you didn't wake your baby.
Okay, thank you very much for listening to the final second part of it's not most anticipated. It's the dumbest looking films we hope are coming out in 2021. Did I say 2020 at the start? Oh my god, that's so embarrassing. Anyway, this is the outro. So if you've enjoyed this episode, please leave a comment wherever you can or on the Discord, and tell us what do you think is the dumbest looking film that you hope is coming out this year. And if you want to support Cult Popture at all the different places, you can do that on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter or YouTube. Subscribe, like, follow, whatever. You can also support us on Patreon, patreon.com/cultpopture, or as I just said, join the Discord. So get on that, get amongst it, and we'll see you next week. Next week is probably going to be another Patreon sample pack, but then we're going to be returning to film franchise fortnights after that. All right, welcome along everybody to the post-credit scene. Hey, it's us. We're back again. Richard, you were gone briefly, but now you're back.
I was actually here the whole time. I just felt too nervous to say anything.
That's fair. I do give off a commanding presence, which prevents other people from feeling like they can express their thoughts. That has been a critique of mine. Richard, this is the post-credit scene where every episode we go to our patrons at patreon.com/cultpopture, and those who donate $5 or more are allowed to give us a question to ask, or each other. Allowed to ask us a question. And last episode, the question was from my brother Nick. And this episode, the question is from your sister Emily.
Oh.
And Emily asks, if you could go back one moment in time with all the knowledge you have now, what would you do to change the course of history?
I think about this all the time.
I'll get the obvious out of the way. 9/11 is too much of a responsibility. If I went back in time long enough, I'd be like, I cannot let this be Although maybe with great power does come great responsibility. But how do you even stop 9/11?
Well, yeah, this is what I think about all the time. Is like, because say you went back and put yourself like, especially like put yourself in the body of the 8-year-old that you were at the time in New Zealand. What could an 8-year-old in New Zealand do to stop 9/11? And I think, like, I think the most that I think you'd be able to do is potentially call in like a bomb threat and get the building evacuated. Like, it would be too hard to try and actually stop 9/11, but I think you could try and minimize the casualties.
Yeah.
There's a lot that I would go back and change in my personal life that we don't need to go.
Obviously, what the question was meaning as well.
Yeah, like
it's like if you go around a circle, everyone's answering this question. One person's like, I'd stop 9/11, and the next person's like, I would have tried to stop her leaving. I would have. I wish I could have said something. Why did I do the wrong thing?
Yeah.
Why didn't I tell her I loved her? Why did I let her go? This hasn't happened to me.
There's also I would love to like take back some scripts with me and make movies before they were made, or like pitch them.
Like in Lost, how they go back in time and Hurley starts writing Empire Strikes Back.
Nice.
And that episode's called Some Like It Hoth. I would go back. I would probably start Cult Popture earlier. I think if I could go to my 12-year-old self in 2005 when YouTube first started, I reckon there would be a charm to a 12-year-old reviewing movies that would be enough to keep people watching.
It's just about getting the good audio and video set up.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, so I would give myself.
You could have been the original Lonely Girl 15.
Sort of, yeah. I would have given myself the tools to be better at YouTube and do video essays and maybe start out with movie reviews, because I think I was probably capable of that at 12.
Right.
And maybe people.
And would you try and get me on board for the podcast?
I think so. I think.
What would you if you were to go back to like, whatever 12-year-old me? Well, I guess when did podcasts? When would have been the right time to start a podcast? I guess like 2009, 2010.
Yeah.
To really get on the ground floor. How would you convince 2010 Richard to join your podcast? This was 3 years before we met.
I'd be like, hey man, here's this hot new thing. You like movies, I like movies.
I actually don't like movies yet. I'm more into music right now.
Okay, let's do a music podcast then.
Oh.
Well, we don't have to start. Do we have to start the podcast? I think we could have started the podcast when we met. It would have to be very, very soon after we met, probably too soon. But we were fast friends, so it's not impossible.
Yeah.
You think it would be impossible?
I think there's nothing you could have said that would have made me start the podcast with you until the very moment you did.
Wow.
And if you'd missed that moment, it wouldn't have happened either.
And that would be my answer to this question.
There's a brief 5-minute window where I was open to the idea of starting a podcast, and you caught it.
That would be the answer to this question. It'd be like, what could you go back in time and change? I'd be like, I'd ask Richard earlier than when I asked him to be on the podcast.
Yeah, or I'd start Cult Popture earlier with someone else.